That nope.
No. Wow.
Nope.
Wow.
That didn't.
You really are dying.
I might actually be. Oh, you motherfucking. Yeah. This is all great for.
It would have been until you
banter.
cursed so much that I can't put it in the opening on the YouTube.
That's what she said.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram, mostly Instagram, at namely90s. You can also find us on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And finally, if you'd like to support our show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s with a 90s and get signed up for one of our support levels.
Yes, those are things you can do.
And for once, I'm wearing the grubby Kraken sweatshirt, but they're actually in the playoffs doing something, so it feels like it means something.
Yeah, you actually just watched the game.
Yeah,
tonight.
Which they lost. But
yes, but at least we won the first one.
Yeah, but I'm also feeling miserably ill, and I saw this, and I was like, this looks like the thing to wear.
Yeah, it definitely helps match your skin tone.
My skin tone is like
gray.
Pale but sweaty.
Yeah, and you have that gray and the dark purple.
Yeah, and that's my complexion you're talking about.
Yes. Or verify for yourself at namely90s.com/YouTube or youtube.com/@namely90s.
Namely90s. Oh boy.
With a 90S on that last one. Yeah, I am wearing my Spider-Man t-shirt, Japanese Spider-Man, because I saw the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 today.
And how was that?
You know, it was pretty good. I feel like of all people, I'm finally hitting superhero fatigue or Marvel fatigue. Just because the Disney Plus series, you know, you have actual time to develop the characters, where it's a harder job in the movie. Although James Gunn did a great job. Nathan Fillion is in this one. Oh. Actually, literally anyone who's ever worked with James Gunn is in this movie if they haven't already been in a previous Guardians of the Galaxy movie, including his wife. And Nathan Fillion, the girl from Castle that was his daughter. And Deanna Melchior from one of the I think she was Rat King 2 or whatever from the Suicide Squad.
Oh God, that is the distinctions.
Well, that the qualifies if it's the good one or not.
The is the good one.
Yeah. Speaking of they played the song in the movie. Badumch. Anyway.
Wow.
Second time I cried not cried. I became emotionally compromised during.
It's okay
Marvel
for men
movie.
to cry these days.
True, but I wasn't like openly weeping in the theater. Just
that would have been funny, actually.
I may have done it once. Trainspotting 2. That's all. That's and then that's allowed me to also feel emotions when Iron Man died, and then when this movie ended. Yeah, it was, here's your Namely 90s review. It wasn't bad.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was, it was better than the last, I don't know, probably every movie since Endgame came out. So
that's like 19 or 20 movies between.
Yeah, more or less. It was an entire phase of the MCU because it's now the phase 5. And there was a phase 4. But no, it was good. It was classic Guardians. There's a lot of backstory about Rocket, which that's the raccoon. and it's space stuff, and
Raccoon has like a South African accent or something.
No, it's Bradley Cooper.
Oh, it had an accent.
Kind of a New Yorkie.
Oh yeah, okay. I've never seen any of that.
So I just rewatched the first two plus Infinity War and Endgame, or their parts in those movies, and Thor 4 and the Guardians Holiday Special. So Thor 4. So it was all fresh in my mind. But yeah, I think as a trilogy, except for the fact that so much happens in between 2 and 3, I think at least the first two together are a good duology, I guess.
This is where Groot is from, correct?
I am Groot.
Every dog is effing named Groot now, by the way.
Really?
It was like back in 2006 when I started getting into the profession, everything was named Bella and Esme. I was like, ugh. But it's kind of funny that Nathan Fillion was in it because, like, in my mind, somehow Firefly and this series of movies feels
similar,
adjacent, but not at all.
I can see that. Well, apparently he's a longtime James Gunn friend and collaborator, which I didn't know.
I assume it's kind of like, it's a ragtag bunch of people in like a spaceship, right? So
yeah, right. More aliens in this one. But yeah, he actually, there was an Easter egg in the first Guardians movie with, or is it the Guardians? There's some MCU Easter egg with Nathan Fillion where he's on a poster and he's like an actor in a movie about something. But yeah, now he's
also a rookie police officer,
right? Well, he was actually he was the chief security guard on a alien corporation facility in outer space. So basically,
that's all the jokes I have written. And now, due to the writer's strike, I will not be making jokes for the rest of the show.
I know, right? Support out to anyone in the WGA and anyone supporting that strike, so that AI generated material doesn't destroy your livelihood, and also you get fair pay.
Yeah, a lot about AI in the news, which is funny because we use AI to generate our prompts, or had done in the past.
I'm unaware of this. What are you saying? Ferdon is an AI generated prompt? It's
sentient though.
Yeah.
It's come alive.
You realize you were the one that said, let's not say it's an AI generated prompt.
Yeah, but it seems apropos considering it's in the news. But it's like everyone's panicking about AI and Joe Biden is talking about AI. And it's like, okay, you still can't go into an elementary school as a child and guarantee that you won't be shot with a large caliber assault weapon.
True.
But we're all worried about AI.
Well, I mean,
like, why in the last 15 minutes has it become like this hot button issue?
Because Chat GPT and GPT-4 iterated in like the last month or so, maybe a month and a half. So it's actually writing quality things that are hard to differentiate from computer generated stuff. So I mean,
I know. I mean, there's implications certainly, but it's like
I understand why it's a problem in the writers' rooms, because there are
it feels
companies
less
that are removing staff because they.
Well, sure, but I mean, it feels less tangibly threatening than
people actually shooting and killing your children,
being shot at, or nuclear arms. You can't hug your children with nuclear arms. I
get your point. I also, but it's not close to the actual point. If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, there's always times in history where people are replaced, right?
Yes, automotive industry.
Obviously, it then causes a to-do. All these jobs are going to be lost. The jobs are replaced with other jobs, or people are like, "Ooh, AI," and then after a while, you're like, this vaguely feels not as good, so we're gonna go back to doing it the real way.
You can like, be an AI writer.
You go back to it'd be like artisan writing.
It's probably gonna end up like that. Yeah.
Farm to table.
Yeah,
no,
computer or pen to table.
Yeah,
pen to paper writing.
Yeah. But definitely let's do a press conference about that from the White House while we approach the debt ceiling and we're gonna lose 6 billion jobs or whatever, and the world's gonna explode, and then Russia's gonna blow things up.
What?
By the way, did you see that whole news story about
what
how
did I miss this week? Sorry, my news is on break because I get my news from a comedy show, not an actual news source.
So CNN had this article or had this thing about how there was some explosions, there were some drone attacks on the Kremlin, and they were
I saw that.
accusing the Ukrainians of trying to kill the president of Russia. And it's like, you've been trying to do that since day one of the war to the Ukrainian president.
This is a factual statement, yes.
And now you're butthurt that they're trying to kill your dictator, if they even did, by the way.
Right.
That may have been a tactic to escalate things, but it's like
false flag operation.
Like, wow. You've literally been trying to kill their sovereign leader for
it's
over
like
a
you're
year.
saying Vladimir Putin is some sort of unhinged maniac, Andrew.
Yes. It actually turns out that Vladimir Putin is the embodiment of ChatGPT.
And Namely 90s just got canceled internationally in Russia, so sorry about that.
The whole war is a deep fake.
Also, if we end up dead before our 3-year anniversary, you don't know why.
Yeah, someone's just going to strangle me with a wire.
Yeah.
Russians like to do that.
Yeah, they'll say you got electrocuted by lightning.
Yeah.
Because you're recording in a lightning storm.
I'm recording in a lightning booth.
Yeah. And gun violence with AI generated prompts.
Yeah. I mean, the joke has been that we've been training the next Terminator by doing all those reCAPTCHA images.
It honestly feels like it now, though. With
now it does. It does.
Yeah. All right. Should we get Ferbed on in here?
Let's do it.
Jim Henson's unexpected death in 1990 had a profound impact on the entertainment industry and on his fans around the world. How did Henson's passing affect the creative direction of the Muppets and other projects he was involved in, both immediately after his death and in the years that followed? What role did his collaborators and successors play in carrying on Henson's legacy, and how successful were their efforts? How has Henson's influence continued to shape the world of puppetry and children's entertainment, even decades after his passing? And finally, what lessons can we learn from Henson's life and career about creativity, innovation, and the power of imagination?
I kind of just want to keep talking about AI robot things. No, that's this week's prompt, I guess. Interesting.
How did Henson's passing affect the creative direction of the Muppets?
I feel like we
negatively.
True. Well, his son took over for the next 2 movies. Brian Henson directed Muppet Christmas Carol and the Treasure Island one.
And let's not forget 90s boy band Henson. No, sorry, that was Hanson.
It's just Kermit and 3 blonde wigs. Bop. Yay! Nope.
And I think international felt consumption went down by about 70% after his passing.
So we definitely we talked about Jim Henson's passing in an episode, I know, because it was in early 1990. He got a bad case of pneumonia and died. And he didn't treat it. And,
okay.
Yeah. It was bacterial pneumonia. I think it was quick. And, so he didn't, and that was in May of 1990, May 15th, 1990, looks like, from Streptococcus pneumoniae. Anyway, yeah, we talked about that in the show within the last year, I think.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
And then we went on to talk about how he had like a public memorial where like all the Muppets were singing with like, I don't know, Miss Piggy sang with Elton John or something.
Yeah. I do remember that, actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was the exact pairing, but
I think that was.
Was it? But yeah, Henson was Kermit the Frog. So after his death, Steve Whitmire took over as Kermit. He originally joined the cast in 1978, so he'd been there. And then like the Creature Shop, his company, Jim Henson Company, and then the Creature Shop. There was all that like they did like Fraggle Rock, they did Farscape, which was a great sci-fi show. They did Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. I guess those are all sci-fi shows, but Farscape, watch it if you haven't seen it. Ben Browder's in it.
I feel like the Muppets thing is just kind of like an acid trip that went on too long, you know?
It was definitely of its time, you know?
Like it feels very, it almost felt dated from day one. Like it's just the way that, I don't know, puppets. Who's into puppets, you know?
Yeah. Children are into puppets.
Yeah, I know, but it just has like a certain quality to it that does not modernize well.
And I agree, or at least in terms of Muppets, like Muppets with Sesame Street and the Muppet Show, they definitely still looked like, I mean, obviously they improved over time, but they still look like they came out of the 60s, which is, I believe, when they started
and I feel
on
like
television.
Behind the scenes, it still looked like the 1970s. Like everyone had their mustaches and was like smoking and had like large collars.
I mean, to be fair, that was
brown vests.
Almost through the 90s.
True. But then it's like, even when something can feel old and dated in the 90s, that's how you know.
Yeah, but they were still fun. There was like at Disney's Hollywood Studios, they had Muppet Vision 3D, which is they also have at California Adventure now, I think, or did, where it's like one of those 3D shows where they do all the stupid 3D gags, and I don't know, that was fun. I liked the Muppets. I like, there's Muppet Babies that was on reruns when we were kids. I
always found Muppets creepy.
Did you? Because they were puppets.
Yeah.
You didn't like Sesame Street either. Actually, I kind of thought Sesame Street was kind of because those were originally Muppet.
Yeah,
Muppet
they're a certain
creations.
type of Muppet.
Yeah.
They're like, what was I saw something that was like those Muppets that live in the barrio. What was that from?
I think that's Family Guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, the Grouch has a gat. Yeah, but you know, even in the 90s, they had like those 3 movies, and they had a version of the Muppets show with Muppets Tonight. They tried to bring it back with Disney Plus. Wasn't great. There's a Muppet Show, but it was like modern-y, so it's like, oh, we're YouTubers now, and here's a TikTok, and it just didn't turn out great. But I mean, like Frank Oz, who played Yoda, but he's also like, I think he's Fozzie Bear or Gonzo, one or the other. Oh, he was Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Animal, and Sam Eagle. And Cookie Monster, and Bert, and Grover. And Yoda.
Oh, I always forget about that.
Yoda?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. That's the one thing where, like, Jim Henson's, like, his company and the Creature Shop and all those, like, live practical things, I think were important in like keeping realism in film and television, because like 99, we thought, hey, we can make the Star Wars prequels with blue screen. And
so what you're saying is we used to do it the old fashioned way.
Yes.
We found out we could do it better with technology. Right, yep. And then we're realizing that like practical effects actually could be better in a lot of cases.
True. I feel like, like now it makes some sense to not do everything practical just because things do look seamless.
Right.
But even just like I said, I went back and watched Guardians 1 and 2, and you can see obviously where the CG is and where it isn't in those films. But yeah, like Jurassic Park did it right. They did the
animatronics.
Yes.
The autoerotica, which is a reference to a joke in Jurassic Park. Which, by the way, I'm reading that book again. Such a good book.
So you say Henson didn't have any innovation or creativity?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say it just always felt dated to me, but it's because I don't like puppets, I guess. But I feel like, I don't know, they're in the zeitgeist. Like I don't think anyone's ever going to forget about Muppets. Like most people would know who Kermit the Frog is.
Yeah.
Pretty universal character.
Or Big Bird.
Across multiple generations. Yeah.
Elmo.
By the way, I sent you the link to that. That's where Dwight Schrute says, "Is that the program where all those puppets live in the barrio?"
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you do the Namely 90s Minute thing, and I can click on that very clearly scammy link.
Yeah, you're just going to immediately install an AI virus on your computer.
Good God.
It's going to artificially inseminate your computer. That's what AI means to me, by the way.
That's
as
fair.
a veterinarian. Anyway, let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to our mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of the Muppet Mayhem coming out on Disney+, we're looking back at Muppet Treasure Island. Muppet Treasure Island is a 1996 musical swashbuckler comedy based off of the novel of the same name, minus the Muppet part, starring the current speaking voice of 2D from the virtual band Gorillaz as Jim Hawkins, the concierge from Home Alone 2 Lost in New York as Long John Silver, Father Joe from the X-Files I Want to Believe as Billy Bones, that one's for Andrew, Nana Noodleman from the Sing franchise as Sarah Bulveridge, and a whole bunch of Muppets. Jim is an orphan living in England with his best friends Gonzo and Rizzo, who learns of a pirate treasure from Billy Bones, who then dies after getting a black spot and gives Jim the treasure map, hoping Jim can get to the treasure and keep it safe from pirates. The trio takes the map from Fozzie Bear, who arranges a voyage on the Hispaniola to find the treasure. The ship is captained by Kermit the Frog and his first mate Sam Eagle, and the boys meet the cook, Long John Silver, who is actually a pirate in disguise with others on board. Silver steals the treasure map, but the boys discover his deceit and tell Captain Kermit, who then tries to maroon the pirate crew on Treasure Island, but then it goes awry when Silver kidnaps Jim. Kermit, Gonzo, and Rizzo head to the island to save Jim, but in Captain Kermit's absence, other pirates still aboard the Hispaniola take it over. Kermit runs into his old jilted lover, Miss Piggy, and her tribe of indigenous pigs and gets captured. The pirates find the cave where the treasure should be, but it's empty, so they have a brief mutiny against Silver. So Silver reveals he's actually fond of Jim and lets him escape, and then manages to regain control of his crew, capture Kermit and Piggy, and threatens to kill Kermit so Miss Piggy will reveal where the treasure is. Meanwhile, Jim and his friends take back the ship and then save Kermit and Miss Piggy, get the treasure, and apprehend Silver and the pirates. Long John Silver manages to escape in the middle of the night, but his boat sinks with the treasure and he gets stranded on the island. The Hispaniola sails off into the sunset as some scuba diving rat tourists recover the treasure from the sea. And that's Muppet Treasure Island in a Namely 90s Minute. More or less.
And now, back to the show.
Welcome back, and here's Ferbdon.
Welcome to the ultimate challenge for Muppet fans and movie buffs alike, which is not you, Andrew. In this game, you'll be put to the test as you try to guess which 90s Muppet movie is being described by a hilariously bad review. Each round will read out a review that's so scathing you'll wonder how anyone could ever enjoy such a terrible movie. But don't be fooled. The review is actually describing one of the classic Muppet films from the 1990s. Your challenge is to use your knowledge of the Muppets, your memory of their movies, and your intuition to figure out which film the review is talking about. Get it right and you'll earn points, but get it wrong and you'll have to face the jeers of Statler and Waldorf. So are you ready to test your Muppet metal? Let's play!
Are those the jerks that sit up on the balcony and jeer?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't think of a jeer in time.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a Letterboxd review game that I'm calling Muppet Madness Mundane Minutiae.
Wow.
Yep. Couldn't think of M word for review. So that's what you got. So the answers will be one of 3 of the 90s Muppet movies, which is The Muppet Christmas Carol, a 1992 American Christmas musical comedy drama based on the 1843 novella A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. We have Muppet Treasure Island, which is a 1996 American musical swashbuckler comedy film adapted from the 1988 novel Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And finally, we have Muppets in Space, an original sci-fi fiction comedy film, and is the only Muppets film not to be a musical and the first film since the death of the Muppets creator Jim Henson to have an original Muppet-focused plot.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
ready? Let's do a quick demo. This half a star. They're all bad. I want Scrooge to pick me up by the neck and throw me across the room like he did to Mr. Applegate, which is
A Muppet Christmas Carol, obviously.
There you go. And here's one more just to get you thinking.
Just get your juices flowing. I hate when people say that.
Half a star from Galette Lover, Hocus Wocus.
Well, clearly that's Hocus Pocus too.
That is Hocus Pocus 2. All right. Ready? Ready to take this for a spin? All right. We have half a star from Eric Gilliland. It stinks. How do you have a Muppet movie with Kermit as a bit player? Same with Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and a rat cannot carry a movie. There are no laughs, no Muppety fun, just dourness as far as the eye can see. Oh, and it's boring. It's a Muppet movie, not even one pun. It stinks. Is that a Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, or Muppets from Space?
What about Muppet Treasure Island?
That is incorrect. It's Muppet Christmas Carol. Just so you know, none of these are going to help you.
I had a thought there, but it was wrong. So
tell us your thought process.
You said something about a rat, and rats live on ships.
That is a good.
They also live in 1843 everywhere. So
fair, but that was a good. That was a good thought process. Gonzo and the rat are actually also main players in the. Treasure
But who can
Island
have a bad
well.
time in a musical swashbuckling comedy? I don't know.
Second review, we have half a star from Finn, who has I believe himself as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker with a photoshopped scribbled green background. I was so high watching this and barely had any idea what was going on plot wise, but the way native people are portrayed in this is really bad and the whole movie just feels very dragged out. Also, I hate, in caps, all the human actors in this. They're very annoying to look at / listen to. The only thing I like about this movie was the outfits. They are very gender, and I like one song. That again is, the only thing I like about this movie was the outfits. They are very gender, and I like one song. Now, if you listened to anything I said leading into this game, you'll have this down to a 50-50. And then from, would you like me to read the first part again? Because gives it away.
Okay, read it again.
I was so high watching this and barely had any idea what was going on plot-wise, but the way native people are portrayed in this is really bad, and the whole movie just feels very dragged out. Blah, 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 blah.
I want to say Treasure Island.
That's correct.
Ah, yes.
And
Muppets from Space wasn't a musical.
That is correct. And
that doesn't mean there couldn't be songs in it, though.
But the natives.
Yeah.
There's no natives in
but in space,
old England.
True. But don't in space, like in Star Trek, don't they find native populations and that's offensive?
Correct, but you already had it down to either Christmas Carol or Treasure Island.
True.
So that's correct. You're batting 500. Let's see where we go from here. Hocus Woke. No, sorry. Half a star. This is from Alice. They say, I say this as someone with no nostalgia for this movie. It is surprisingly racist. Like, I genuinely didn't feel like finishing it because it was so uncomfortably racist. Channel those thoughts you just had.
Muppets from Space.
That is correct. Was that too much of a gimme?
No, I mean, I was leaning toward that. Although, I feel like, I don't know how they did the Muppet Christmas Carol, but that would have been a time where racism was quite rampant as well.
Correct. But mostly just white people.
There was like classism too, wasn't it?
All right. Ready to get into some harder stuff?
That's what she said. Yes.
Okay. Half a star from Lula Lune. Either way. 2 hours of just the Roombas existing would have been a better movie.
2 hours of just the Roombas existing would have been a better movie. I'll go Christmas Carol.
You want to think about that a little further?
Well, you said they were not helpful.
Correct. But I may have...
Oh, well, I might go back toward the space one.
Okay. 2 hours of just the Roombas existing would have been a better movie.
I want to go Muppets from Space.
Okay. It's Hocus Pocus 2.
Okay.
Because Roombas didn't exist in the 90s. And I only realized that as I was reading that back to you.
Well, my thought is maybe in the space one, there was some sort of like Roomba advanced thing that looked like a Roomba that was like in the ship, kind of like the little things in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Droids that drove around.
That was a great thought process. I'm sorry I threw in a fake one. But not a fake one. We have half a star from Grumpiest Zebra. I love this film so much. However, last time I watched it, a friend of a friend was there and she explained how the original book was really anti-Semitic and she was Jewish, I think, in parentheses. And just murdered the vibe, as we also had a Holocaust thing earlier that day, parenthesis, I legit can't remember, close parenthesis. So now this film's and all other adaptations of this story have been vibe checked into oblivion, as in my mind, it's just, got the association of anti-Semitism in my mind.
It's got to be the Christmas Carol.
That's correct. But is this person higher than the first?
Yeah.
The last person that was so
higher
high?
Than a kite.
I'm so high. What is that? What was the Nickelback line? All right, you're doing surprisingly well. You've missed one and got 3 correct so far.
Hey.
Yeah. Should we do another?
Sure.
All right. This one from. Let me see. Do I want to do this one or this one? No, to give me. Okay. Half a star from Dante Pineu. This film is not good. It has aged horribly, and it is missing the meta humor that makes a Muppet movie. The idea of the story is great, but the execution is really terrible. I haven't watched this since I was a young kid, and I can see why even as a kid I chose to rewatch the original Muppet movie and Great Muppet Caper more than this one. I even used to watch Muppets Take Manhattan more than this film. I hated this film a lot more than I realized, and then the emoticon, lowercase x, capital D.
I want to go with Muppets from Space.
You're correct. thought process?
You said the idea for the story. The other two weren't ideas; they were just ripped off from other stories.
Fair. All right.
Apparently, when I'm sick, my brain works better. What's going on?
You're doing really well. Okay. This one, oddly enough, had the least half stars. So this is 1 star. From Ray's Mac 77. Capsized by the decision to focus on an irritating child actor rather than just having Kermit or IDK Gonzo be the star. Tim Curry is great fun as ever, but he can't save it. Why did they make Fozzie a maniac? Why is there so little Piggy? And why, oh why, is there so much focus on those CUNT rats? This person might be
Christmas Carol.
From the Queen's English. You silly beep. It's Muppet Treasure Island.
Wait, the rats came back. I know you said capsized. I thought that was to throw me off.
Did I say capsized?
Yeah. The very first word is capsized.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, boat. And then I was like, no, that can't be. He wouldn't give me one that easy. Oh, there's the thunder.
Uh-oh. I better hurry this up then. I think you've already won. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 so far. So I don't know. Victory lap time.
Sure.
Let's just one more. Half a star from Cooper Rice. This was shit, and this review is so late because I didn't even think I could review it because I barely paid attention, but I might as well. Pros, none. Cons, everything. Sorry that this review is shit. This movie was just so insanely shit. Was it Muppet Christmas Carol? Muppet Treasure Island?
Christmas Carol.
You want to think carefully about that?
No, I want to go with that.
Okay, it's Hocus Pocus too.
Damn
it. Sorry, one final actual one. I don't know why I enjoy doing that to you so much. Because I'm a terrible person. Okay. A final one, half a star from Anna Args. Kill me off, the most boring film I've seen. Now I like Kermit, but I get a lot of joy out of strangling him for his shocking performance in this film. Silly green frog. That's kill me off, the most boring film I've seen. Now I like Kermit, but I'd get a lot of joy out of strangling him for his shocking performance in this film. Period. Silly green frog.
I keep going back to it, but I'm going to go to the Muppets Christmas Carol.
You're correct. Nice job.
Seems boring. Ooh, yeah, it's getting...
But it's like the best one of the 3, which is the bad part. So, yeah, congratulations. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Missed 2. So 5 out of 7. That's great. That's
Yay!
70%. 71.4.
Well, I think we should wrap before I get struck by lightning.
That's good, because that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you find new episodes out every Monday. Join us next week for a deep dive episode on what? I don't know yet. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Namely 90s with 90s, or just Instagram, because that's where we live now. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with the 90s. And finally, you can also contact us through our website, Namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Podcasts, and Space. Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we will catch you next time. Unless Andrew dies by lightning.
It's not easy being green.